Okay, so good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So, in the last class, we have discussed about the electric potential. Okay, so we have discussed about this particular topic of electric potential. This is work done to bring a unit positive charge from point from infinity to a point A, suppose, and potential difference is the actually. Wait one second. Okay, so if there are 2 points, suppose point A and point B, then the electric potential at point A is the work done to bring a charge from infinity to a point. There is a unit positive charge from infinity to that point A is potential at point A. Similarly, the potential at point B is the work done to bring a 1 coulomb charge from infinity to that particular point. B is the potential at that point. But potential difference is the point A to B, the potential difference between point A to B is the work done to shift a particular charge from between A to B. Okay, so that difference is nothing but difference between the actual potentials. So potential difference between A and B is VA minus VB. Okay, okay, so now we will be discussing about the relationship between the electric potential and the electric field intensity. So the potential difference between A and B is independent of the path taken. That means if you want to find the potential difference from A to B and B to A, and whatever path you take, okay, they both are equal, because potential difference between VAB is equals to the negative of potential difference between VBA. That is, the potential difference between VAB is minus potential difference of VBA, or vice versa. That means magnitude wise they are equal. Okay, so that means if they are magnitude wise, if they are equal, that means they are independent of the path. But since when we define that potential difference between A and B is VAB, then B and A is VBA, and they both are equal. But since the path are opposite to each other, so we give a negative sign. Okay, but the magnitude is independent. But since for marking or for our understanding, we give the notation of a negative sign to to actually explain that the potential difference are actually equal, but since the path are opposite to each other, so they are opposing each other. Okay, so that means if you consider a closed loop, okay, closed loop, that means the entire potential difference in the closed loop will be 0, because VAB plus VBA will be equals to 0. Okay, if we add them. Now the closed loop is nothing but the closed line integral of E dot dl. Why? Because since we have already seen that potential difference is nothing but the integration of E dot dl. Okay, okay, so that means for the closed line integral it will be 0. This shows that the line integral of E along a closed path as shown in figure 2 must be 0. Okay, so physically this implies that no net work is done in moving a charge along a closed path in an electrostatic field. So since in physics also we have studied then that if your path is a closed path, that means you are originating from a point and you end up in the same point at the same point. So that means you actually travel a closed path. So in a closed path the work done will always be 0, because it is considered that displacement is 0, because displacement is a vector, and if you start at a particular point and you end up at the point where you have already started, that means you have not done any displacement. So a displacement in a closed path is always considered to be 0. Here also it is a line integral. If the line integral is a closed line integral, that means you are starting at point A, traveling point B, and again ending at point A. So it is a closed line integral, so it is a 0. That means there is no work done to move a charge in a closed path, because what you are doing, you are moving up charge from A to B. So A is having some potential VA, point A is having some potential VA, okay, and point B is having some potential VB. So work done to travel this particular point from A to B, okay, that is the potential difference. Now same charge which is now at B, you want to again move it to A. So you have to travel from B to A. That potential will be VBA. So both are equal actually magnitude wise, but they are opposite in sign. That means the closed line integral will be the summation of the two potential difference, that will be 0. That means no work done. So potential difference in the closed path is 0. Okay. So now taking this particular equation, that line integral, okay, so line integral of E dot dl is 0. Now if you apply the Stokes theorem, okay, so on equation number 14, so this is equation number 14, if you apply Stokes theorem, if you remember that it converts the line integral to a particular surface integral. Okay, so it converts the line integral to a surface integral. So what happens, this line integral E dot dl becomes equals to the surface integral, this is the surface integral, this is a line integral, closed line integral actually. So the closed line integral of E dot dl is converted to a surface integral, but open surface integral, okay, surface integral of the curl of E. As we know that there is a vector, if the line integral is converted into a surface integral, then it becomes a curl of that vector, okay. That means we can conclude that ultimately curl of E, surface integral of curl of E is 0. That means curl of E is 0. So that means it is a conclusion that curl of an electric field intensity is always 0. The curl of an electric field intensity, is always 0. So that means any vector which satisfies equation number 14 or 15 is said to be conservative or irrotational, because if you can remember, we have discussed that a vector can be divergence less if it is traveling this way straight. So there is a point, it is not diverging or converging. But if that vector is coming into a point or coming out of a point, converging or diverging, we call it a divergence, that is non-zero divergence. Similarly, if there is a point and the vectors are actually rotating at that or across a point, or there may not be a point but the vectors are rotating in this way, so we call that this vector is a rotational vector. So this vector is neither rotational nor diverging, okay. So that means here this particular vector is having divergence 0 and curl 0. This is having divergence non-zero but curl 0, and this is having divergence 0 but curl non-zero. And for both of them it will look like this. If you can remember, it was already discussed earlier. This kind of a vector has both divergence as well as curl. So curl 0 means it will not be rotational, it is irrotational. So this is having curl 0. So the vector may look like this, okay, or like this. So it may have a divergence because E has some divergence, but the curl is 0, so it is irrotational. Thus, an electrostatic field can be called as irrotational or a conservative field. Okay. So this equation number 15, is the second Maxwell's equation. It is second Maxwell's equation, because first Maxwell's equation was with respect to the volume integral. If you can remember, divergence of V, the rho V, that was the first Maxwell's equation, and the second Maxwell's equation is the curl of E is 0. Okay. Now equation number 14 is the integral from, that means equation number 14. This is also Maxwell's equation. This is also the second Maxwell's equation, and this 15 is also the second Maxwell's equation, but in the two different forms. This one is called the differential form, okay, and this is called the integral form, because there is an integration. So the integral form of Maxwell's equation is the closed line integral of E is 0, and the differential form of Maxwell's equation is the curl of E is 0. Okay. So from the way we define the electric potential, okay, now electric potential we all know it is actually the line integral of E dot dl. Okay, that means electric potential or a potential difference, that means point VAB, that means VA minus VB. Okay, that means inside the plane, inside a particular plane, there is a point charge, and you're shifting a point charge from A to B. Okay, and there is already some electric field. There is already some electric field present. So when you're shifting that point charge from A to B, you're actually doing some work done. You're doing some work done inside this electric field E, and the displacement is dl. So the potential difference will be equals to E dot dl line integral from A to B. This one we already studied. Okay. Now, if we consider the displacement, or the, you can say, work done, or the potential difference to be very small potential difference. Okay. So small potential difference means that we will not use the integration sign. It will be just E dot dl. Okay, that means dl is the actual length. So in this case we will not use E dot dl. Why? Because dl is the actual only length. Okay, the length is only dl. So it is not like that the total length is L and we are dividing into small parts dl, so that L is equals to the line integral of dl. This is a separate case. But in this case the entire line length is dl. So we will not, suppose if that case is, if that is a case, then we will not use the line integral. It is just E dot dl. Okay. Now there is a minus sign, as we know that there is a, we use a minus sign. Okay. From here we have originated that because if you can remember, the minus sign was there because you are actually applying a force from the external source, isn't it? Because yes, because if there is electric field present and the charge is moving from A to B, if electric field is helping it, then it is okay, it will be positive. But if you are dragging the charge from A to B against the electric field, that electric field is not allowing you to do, so you are applying some external force. So electric field is resisting it, so you are going against the electric field, that means you are applying some external force. Okay, so that means the work done is against the external force, so that is why we give a negative sign. We give a negative sign. Okay, now that is why we have written minus E dot dl. Fine. Now E is a vector, dl is a vector. Okay. Okay, so suppose E is a vector, so E, if it is a vector, so it will have Ex. Okay, so if I write over here, this particular step I'm just mentioning. So E dot dl minus E dot dl. Okay, because V is considered to be minus E dot dl. Now E is a vector, actually it is a vector because you are doing the dot product, means it is there, these two are vector, and we know that electric field intensity and displacement both are vectors. Now if it is a vector, then it will have the vector coordinates, unit vector x. So Ex unit vector x plus Ey unit vector y plus Ez unit vector z. Okay, and dl, if dl is a vector, then dl is also a vector, so it will be dl unit vector sorry, dx actually. So it will be dx unit vector x plus dy unit vector y plus dz unit vector z. Now if you perform E dot dl, then what happens? Dot product between this and this. If you find the dot product between this and this, it will be 0. Same for this, also 0. So only these corresponding terms will be multiplied. So you will get ex unit then dx plus ey dy plus ez dz. And if it is minus, so it is minus. Okay, so ex dx minus ey dy minus ez dz. Okay, so that is written over here. You can see minus ex dx minus ey dy minus ez dz. But generally what happens, if we consider that the potential difference, small potential difference, okay, so for tiny potential difference, so we are finding the as if the derivative, so we can consider that there is a partial derivative. Okay, so partial derivative will be del x of dx, that means the del x of v dx, del y of v dy, del z of v dz. This is the partial derivative. So which means this one is equals to this. So RHS, this part, this is the RHS part. This one is the RHS part. Okay, and this one is the LHS part. Okay, so RHS part is clear as we have derived. Okay, the LHS part dv is equals to this. Okay, partial derivative. So partial derivative, then if you compare with these two equations, then you can see this one goes with this equation, this goes with this equation, and this goes with this equation. Okay, so LHS and RHS, if you separate and then if you equate, then you will get that minus ex is equals to del x of v, or ex is equals to minus del x of v, or ey is equals to minus del y of v, and ez is equals to minus del z of v. So let us cut this in a conclusive way, that this part is clear. This part is clear to you. You're just doing this dot product. You're concerned about this. You're bothered about this, and you're getting this output. Okay. Now there comes another expression which shows that dv. Now what about dv? Because we have discussed about this. What about dv? This is dv actually. So dv is nothing but del v of x unit vector, then dx, sorry, not unit vector, dx, del y dy plus del v z dz. Okay, now this is equals to this. If you compare, okay, if you compare, then you will get an expression in this way, that this will be equals to this. So we are just writing in this way, that ex is equals to minus del v of x, okay, ey is equals to minus del y of v, and ez is equals to minus del v of z. Okay, this we have written. Now what does this mean actually? What is the significance of this equation? This equation is significant in this way, that if you focus on this equation particularly, if you focus on this equation, okay, which is shown over here. So now this equation, what does it look like? Del v, isn't it? Now E is a vector. E is a vector. V is a scalar. It is not a vector. It is a scalar only. Okay. So now, if you compare this equation, if you compare, suppose this is equation number 1, this is equation number 2, and the dot product is equation number 3. So equation number 1 represents the vector E, equation number 2 represents the vector dl. What does equation number 3 do? The dot product of E and dl. Okay. Now equation number 4 is the expression of the LHS, because RHS is this, what about LHS? LHS is dV. Then we have equation number 5, which compares equation number 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 is compared to give you 5. Okay, equation number 5. Okay, so equation number 3 and 4 are compared to give you equation number 5. Because you're comparing between these two equations, you see dx is common, so you can just equate like this, that if such a situation is this, because minus E dot dl is dv. Okay, if I zoom in once again, if minus E dot dl is equals to dv, then Ex is a part of E dot dl, and dx is a part of, okay, sorry, dv by dx is a part of this one, so they will also be equal, isn't it? Because if ex dx, then del x of v is dx, and if they are equal, so they will also be equal. Okay, so they are equal to each other. So that is why we have concluded this part. Okay, this is an assumption. You can see you are going step by step as an assumption. Okay, so which means the conclusion is that we come to equation number 5, because we compare 3 and 4 and they give us equation number 5. Okay, now the thing is, if this is equation number 5, then tell me, suppose I want to find the gradient of v, because v is a scalar. Okay, I want to find the gradient of v, so it will be del x of dx, oh sorry, unit vector x, okay, plus del y of v, unit vector y, then del v z, del z of v, unit vector z. This is the equation of a gradient. This all we know, we have studied already. Okay, now if this part, you can see this part, that Ex is equals to minus of del x of v, then if I replace this part, suppose this is equation number 6, if I replace this part in this equation 3, no, not 3 actually, in equation number 1, that means I am replacing this particular part in equation number 1. So let me show you in a broader way. So this is another case. Suppose say gradient of v is this. We all know if we want to find the gradient of a scalar v, then we represent in this way. Now after writing this in the paper, I am imagining that if del v of x is equals to Ex, if they are equal, then I can replace this entire equation number 6 into equation number 1. Because if they are equal, then I can write in this way that E is nothing but Ex unit vector x plus Ey unit vector y plus Ez unit vector z. In place of that, I will write minus del x of v unit vector x, unit vector a, okay, unit vector x, not d. One second. Unit vector x minus del y unit vector y minus del z of v unit vector z. I can write this because I am just incorporating this term into this term, incorporating the third term into third term. Why I am doing this? Why del V of Z is equals to Ez? Because we have already concluded this. So we can write this. So if I write this, so this is nothing, this part is nothing but if you take the minus common, then this part is nothing but del of V. So this is nothing but minus del of V. That means E is nothing but, electric field intensity is nothing but the negative of gradient of V. So it is minus gradient of V. That is why we have written in this way. So this step is not shown over here. So you have to understand it and you have to derive it of your own. So this concludes that E is nothing but the minus of gradient of V. So electric field intensity is the gradient of V, but negative. But magnitude wise they are equal. Okay. So did you understand this particular derivation? These two equations, then from 16 then 17. Did you understand this part? If you have any question, you can ask me. If you want to ask me Hindi, then you can also do that. There is no problem. ठीक है, अगर इसमें समझने में कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो मुझे बोल सकते हो कि डिफिकल्ट कोई नहीं है. ये देखो v इज इक्वल्स टू इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ ई डॉट डी एल. दिस इज नोन टू अस. तो क्या करेंगे अभी, इंटीग्रेशन अगर नहीं करना है, अगर मान लो कि सिर्फ स्मॉल एक लाइन है तो छोटा सा पोटेंशियल है डी वी, तो यहाँ पर इंटीग्रेशन नहीं करेंगे, डायरेक्टली इक्वल्स टू माइनस ई डॉट डी एल. ओके. सो ई एक वेक्टर है, डी एक वेक्टर है, डी एल एक वेक्टर है. दोनों का वेक्टर को हम डॉट प्रोडक्ट करेंगे तो ये मिलता है जो मैंने अभी यहाँ पर दिखाया था स्टेप बाय स्टेप. इक्वेशन 1 and 2, इफ यू डॉट प्रोडक्ट यू विल फाइंड इक्वेशन नंबर 3. अब डीवी जो है, एलएचएस जो है, एलएचएस को हम यहाँ से लिख रहे हैं. अब 3 और 4 को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं. कंपेयर करके हमको इक्वेशन नंबर 5 मिल रहा है. ठीक है. अब यहाँ तक हो गया. अब मान लो कि हम लोग ग्रेडियंट ऑफ वी निकालना चाहते हैं, तो कैसे निकालेंगे, इक्वेशन नंबर 6. फिर देखेंगे कि क्योंकि हमने इक्वेशन नंबर 5 की कंक्लूड किया है कि ई एक्स इक्वल्स टू माइनस डेल एक्स ऑफ बी, तो यहां पर हम ई एक्स को लिख सकते हैं, यहां पर हम ई वाई लिख सकते हैं, माइनस एस लिख सकते हैं, माइनस ई वाई लिख सकते हैं, यहां पर माइनस ई जेड लिख सकते हैं. या फिर यहां पर ई एक्स ना लिख के हम लोग डेल एक्स ऑफ वी को यहां पर लिख सकते हैं, ई के जगह पे, ई एक्स की जगह पे. तो हम लोग वो वाला करेंगे. तो वो वाला करने के बाद हमको ये वाला इक्वेशन मिला, जहां पर हमने इसको तो डेल ग्रेडियंट ऑफ वी कंसीडर किया है. ओके. so that is why we can write that E is equals to gradient of minus gradient of V. This is the conclusion. So the negative sign shows that the direction of E is opposite to the direction in which V increases. That means if the potential difference or a potential at a particular point increases, then the electric field intensity at the particular point decreases. So E is directed from higher to lower levels of V. That means if the potential at a particular point increases, the electric field intensity decreases. And if the potential decreases, the electric field intensity at that particular point increases. So since the curl of the gradient of a scalar function is always 0, so it is obvious that E must be gradient of some scalar function. Because we have seen, coming to this particular second point, what the second point means, that we have known that curl of E is 0. We know this. Curl of E is always 0 because E is irrotational or conservative. Electric field is conservative. It cannot rotate. So curl you will not find. It is always a straight line. So this is known to us. If E is a straight line, so obviously curl will be 0. There is no argument. Okay. Now curl is 0. Then E is equals to minus gradient of V. Okay. So from here we can write in this way that E is or you can say curl of E is 0. Number one equation, okay, Maxwell's second equation. Then E is equals to minus del V, gradient of V. If you put this one over here, so we can write curl of minus gradient of V is equals to 0. Or if it is 0 already, then we don't have to put the minus sign. We can directly write that curl of V, curl of gradient of V is 0. Okay, because it is always true. You will not only in this case, in any case, you will find that you take a gradient of a scalar, it becomes a vector, and you find the curl, you will see that it is 0. That means V is a scalar quantity. After finding the gradient, it becomes vector, but that vector is never rotational vector. It is a straight line. It can have a divergence, but it cannot rotate. So it will always have a straight line. Either it will converge or diverge from a point, or it will not converge or diverge. It will be a straight line. So curl will not find. Okay. So that means E must be a gradient of some kind of a scalar function. So that is actually what it is. E is actually the gradient of V, and V is a scalar. So electric field intensity is actually the gradient of a scalar quantity, that is potential V. Okay. So there are some numericals. So let us discuss about the numericals before ending this session. Okay. So the 2 point charges minus 4 microcoulomb, okay, and 5 microcoulomb are located at point 2 minus 1 3 and 0 4 minus 2 respectively. Now find the potential at 1 0 1, assuming 0 potential at infinity. That means the coordinates are given in Cartesian coordinate system. They are given in Cartesian coordinate system. So there are 2 point charges. Okay. Now you have to find the potential at a point 1 0 1 due to the effect of these 2 point charges. Okay. So which means if I take a Cartesian coordinate system in this way, okay, x, y and z, point charges are there. This is 1 point, okay, and this is minus 4 microcoulomb, which is 2 minus 1 3. This is another point charge, okay, this is 0 4 minus 2. This is 5 microcoulomb, and there is another point over here, somewhere over here. Suppose this is 1 0 1. So there is no point over here, it's just a single separate point, suppose point P. Now I want to find the potential at that point P. What is the potential at that point P? So obviously potential at that point P is nothing but the work done to bring a unit positive charge from infinity to that particular point. Okay. Now if 2 charges are there, so obviously there is some electric field. There is some electric field. Some electric field is there. But the electric field is created by the 2 charges, not a single charge, 2 charges. One is positive charge, one is negative charge. Okay. So that means the potential will be because of the 2 charges. So potential V will be of the 2 charges. So summation of the potential because of charge 1 okay, so potential at point P due to charge 1 and plus charge 2. Okay, so we directly use the equation, okay, formula, and then we will calculate. So if potential in infinity is 0, so that means C0 is 0. So this is not required actually, we don't use this generally. Okay. So now displacement is concerned. So R minus R1, because what is R? This is R1, this is R2, this is R. Okay, like this. So R1 is R minus R2. Okay, the displacement, the displacement. Okay, in that way. Or generally the yes, arrow sign is given like this. Okay, in this fashion. So accordingly we calculate and we find the potential at that point is minus 5.872 kilovolt, because microcoulomb means a huge charge. Okay, so microcoulomb you can understand the coulomb, because if an electron has 1.9 into 10 to the power minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulombs, then microcoulomb means there will be huge number of electrons. So if microcoulomb charges are there, that is sufficient to create a potential of kilovolt. Okay. So this particular numerical is a bigger numerical. Okay, it has two parts. So method. So I am just showing this first part only. I will continue the second part in the next class. Okay. So I am just showing the part A. So it is told that given the potential V, it is in which coordinate system? It is in the spherical coordinate system, because it has r, it has theta, it has phi. So it is 10 by r square sine theta cos phi. So find the electric flux density D at a particular point. That means a potential is given. So potential means a particular point is there whose potential is given. Now you have to find the flux density at that particular point. Now, where is the relationship between potential and flux density? Because this is actually derived in this way, that we already know this equation. Okay, and we also have come to learn about this equation. Okay, so that means if D, the electric flux density, is equals to the absolute permittivity into electric field intensity, then D is written, and this, so we can write in this way. So hence, therefore, D is equals to epsilon naught E. So we can write epsilon naught minus of gradient of V. Okay, so quite easy. So since we have the relationships with us, so we can proceed in this way. First of all, we will proceed this with this particular equation, because we just have to multiply a constant. So the actual work we have to do is minus of gradient of V. So minus of gradient of V. So we will just use that equation of del V in the spherical coordinate system. We will use the formula. You will put the values of V and we will differentiate and we will get this equation. Now at particular point, it is told that at particular point, this point, what we will do, since we have the values of r, theta, phi with us, and we will put those values over here, because electric field intensity is a vector. But at a particular point, if you want to find, okay, a particular vector, then you have to put those values. So if you put the values, these values, and multiply it with epsilon naught, then you get this answer. Okay. So you will see that since this third term is 0 and this is pi by 2, okay, so somewhere over here, yes, cos, this is r cos phi, if you can remember, this is r, this is theta, actually this is theta, this is phi. So theta, if you put pi by 2, so we know that theta pi by 2 means, cos theta pi by 2 means, or cos pi by 2 rather, cos pi by 2 means it is 0. So this term will be 0. Okay, this is 0 and phi is 0. So here we will write sine 0 degree or 0 radian. So it is also 0. So that is why this middle term and this last term, we are not getting any positive result. We are getting a 0 result. Only non-zero value we will get over here, because in this case we are writing theta as 90 degree. So sine 90 means 1 and phi as 0 degree. Okay, so cos phi is 1. So our answer will be 20 by r cube unit vector r. Okay, so D will be epsilon naught into 20 by r cube. What is r cube? R cube is 8. So 8 unit vector r. It will get cancelled. It will get 2 5 by 2, 2.5. Okay, 2.5. then 2.5, this one you can see 2.5 coulomb per meter square, then multiply with epsilon naught, then you will get this answer. Becomes pico, because it is I think 8.854 into 10 to the minus 12 coulomb per meter. Okay, this pico, that means this epsilon naught value, okay, or farad per meter actually. So you get this answer. So it is quite easy, you just have to remember these relationships, that's all. Okay, and a question may come with the curl of E also, so these things also we have to remember. That if it is told that what will be the value of E or as a vector, then you have to put the curl of E, equate them to 0 and determine the value of Ex, Ey, Ez. In that way also problem can come. Okay, so is this problem clear to you? This particular problem, I think it's quite easy. So have you understood? Ayush, Danish, Deepak. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you understood this part, that if you know these two equations, then you can find out D?
Yes, sir.
Fine, then this is also quite easy. Okay, because there are 2 points, you want to find the potential at a particular point, so use this formula of superposition and you determine. Okay, so these are related to mathematics also and physics, so both this combination of mathematics and physics is there. So you have to go through these notes. So I will share these notes with you today itself in the Google Classroom, so you must check the Google Classroom. Okay, and I think you who have come to know about the internal exam also. There is an internal exam, isn't it? Slot test. Do you know that there will be slot test in the coming next week or
Yes, sir.
and week after next week? So what I will do, I will share the syllabus of this particular subject in the Google Classroom itself. Okay, so इस सब्जेक्ट के जहाँ तक मैंने पढ़ाया है वहीं तक दूंगा, मैंने गूगल क्लासरूम में ही सिलेबस दे दूंगा, टॉपिक दे दूंगा कौन कौन सा सिलेबस है, तो गूगल क्लासरूम में तुमको जानकारी मिल जाएगा. ठीक है, तो जिसके पास क्लास कोड नहीं है वो जिसके पास है वो काइंडली उनको शेयर कर दे क्लास कोड. ठीक है, ताकि वो ज्वाइन कर सके. अगर पुराने मैसेज हो व्हाट्सएप में देख सकते हो, मैंने व्हाट्सएप में शेयर किया था क्लास कोड, वहां से तुमको मिल जाएगा. ठीक है, okay, then thank you students.
The exam will online or offline?
Most probably it will be online. Okay, it will be online. Okay, तुम लोग पहले ऑनलाइन में दे चुके हो ना इंटरनल एग्जाम?
Yes sir, LMS पर.
हाँ जी हाँ, तो वैसा ही होगा. ठीक है, ठीक है, मैं सिलेबस जो है वो कितना तक तुमको पढ़ना है स्लॉट के लिए, इस सब्जेक्ट के लिए इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक फील्ड थ्योरी, मैं व्हाट्सएप में सॉरी गूगल क्लासरूम में दे दूंगा. ठीक है, एज वेल एज नोट्स बाय टुडे. ओके, सो देन थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स.
Thank you, sir.